everyone, and welcome to Mugello for the final race of our opening round of the Ferrari Challenge Europe for 2024. And this is for our Coppa Shell Am drivers that will be taking to the track very, very shortly. Andrea Levi will be going from pole position. And this is where we are, the lovely Mugello circuit, 5.245 kilometers. And this is our calendar for 2024. What a good one it is. Kicking it all off here in Mugello before we go to Balaton in Hungary. Then it's Jerez, Portimao and La Castellet for our summer tour before Nürburgring and Imola to round out the 2024 Ferrari Challenge season. Well done to the those designers of the calendar. The track temperature is 37 degrees, air temperature 20, humidity 43%, and the wind is 14 kilometers per hour at the moment. We've been privileged here in broadcast to have alongside us various guests, Nico Spalak among many of them, but also Timo Glock and this young man as well, Oliver Bearman.
I never expected to make my debut for Ferrari in F1. Yeah, it was just such a fantastic experience. The Ferrari family is very proud to be a part of it and to play a small part in the history of Ferrari, where everyone is so passionate for racing, even congratulating me for the race, which was fantastic, really, really nice. It's really nice to come back to a track that holds special memories for me. Of course, I won the Italian F4 championship here, and that really kick-started my, it helped me to join Ferrari, and it helped me to take the next step to F3 as well. So it's a place that's very special in my heart, a very beautiful part of Italy as well. I would love to live here one day, and yeah, I really enjoy the track as well. It's one of my favorites. I'm always driving here on the simulator. And soon I will drive also with the Ferrari 296 on track as well, so I'm quite excited.
He is truly a talented young driver and a super young man as well. Oliver Bearman, who I've spent quite a lot of time with over the course of this weekend as we look at Jeppe Ramelli, and now we look at the 188 car. You can see there of Josef Schumacher, one of the most distinctive color schemes across one of these new 296s. It's absolutely brilliant for the Eberlein Schumacher racing team. And Motohiko Isasaki offering him his best wishes for the race to come. Of course, Motohiko Isasaki was the champion in this very category in Europe last year. And there we can see the number 100 car of Dr. Stephen Earle. And he is another truly, truly lovely gentleman who enjoys his racing and wears his Ferrari passion with significant pride. And he's always a driver never to be discounted, I can tell you. Many best wishes to all of our drivers, all 19 of them down there, including Eric Chung, the back end of his 296, which is actually in its own right a thing of beauty, which we can see there. Eric Chung will be going, and here is the familiar colour scheme of Lisa Clark for Pellin Racing. And Lisa Clark, a very, very well-travelled racer who just last weekend was competing and contesting the Ferrari Challenge North America in Cota in Texas. Cyril is partner to von Skeltermar and is also down there on the grid as well, offering warm wishes to all of our competitors, which is lovely to see. So Josef Schumacher then, just receiving some final words of advice from Max Mugelli to his outside. And this is Jeppe Ramelli, and this is my colleague on the air, Nico Spalek. Good afternoon. What a phenomenal day's racing we've had, and we expect it to continue with this Coppa Shell Am racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Great day of racing, a great day overall. Lots of people in the paddock, lots of drivers on the track, more than 70 here in Mugello, and that gives us the pleasure of having a third race on the bill and on the timetable, and that is the Coppa Shell Am. All the racetrack for themselves, and yeah, we expect a fascinating race.
Indeed so. And Paolo Scudieri is a driver that we can expect to see do some overtaking, really, because I think it's fair to say he is out of position with regards to qualifying. He was unable to get the right lap in and ran out of time, and he's going from the 6th row of the grid, starting from P12. Andreas Koenig, he's also arguably out of position, going from P5 on the grid, the Haupt Racing Team Go Motorsport driver, so expect good things from him. The 134 car is driven by Mutlu Tazev for Emil Frey Racing. So many great drivers, so many great teams involved in the Ferrari Challengers. You can see Charlie Hollings walking away. He's one of the driver coaches down there on the track. And what about this extraordinary debut in the Ferrari Challenge from Zois Skrimpias, Nico, who goes from P2. You can just see his car on the right-hand side of our picture here, and the yellow and green car. What a debut he's made.
Yeah, definitely. He got pole yesterday, finished the race in P2 with a very, very strong and mature drive. And he put it on P2 again, and in qualifying looked like he had pole position potentially coming his way until Andrea Levy really put a blister of a lap in and snatched that away. But great showing. We expect a lot from him, not only today, but for the future as well.
Hassan Debussy, we can see there. Warm welcome to Hassan Debussy. He's going from P17, and just a few moments ago we saw the 120 car of Guy Favet, who starts a little bit further up the order. So it has been a truly awesome weekend to open the 2024 season of Ferrari Challenge Europe. Awesome. It's the only word. Absolutely awesome. The Richard Mille safety car we are on board with right now. It will be leading the cars away on their formation lap. As always, a rolling start for the start of a Ferrari Challenge race. And if I was not mistaken, it'll be Oliver Bearman who will be up there on the gantry to wave the cars away and press the button which illuminates the lights green at the end of the formation lap. So we remain on board with the Richard Mille safety car now when that leaves. And we are about a minute. There you can see Ollie standing by on the gantry there. We're about 45 seconds away from the cars being away on their formation lap. Absolutely phenomenal weekend, opening our 2024 season, the 32nd season of the Ferrari Challenge. Where have the years gone? Well, they've gone in terrific motorsport excitement. That's where they've gone. You can hear the klaxons go. 30-second board going out, and we are holding on to everything here in our commentary studio and broadcast suite as we are getting ready to go racing. Cars leave the grid right now. Andrea Levy then going from P1, Zois Skrimpias from P2, then it's Henrik Kamstrup and Eric Chung. So many great drivers littering the 19-strong grid of cars. We'll bring you the grid in full in due course. They have one lap to try and generate some temperature into those tyres ahead of the start of the 30-minute plus one lap race to come. It's race 2 for Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am. I remind you, it was Andreas Koenig taking the win yesterday. Taking P2 was Zois Skrimpias, and taking P3 it was Paolo Scudieri. Zois Skrimpias then and Andrea Levy on the front row. They're ahead of Henrik Kamstrup and Eric Chung. Then it's Andreas Koenig and Giuseppe Ramelli, two drivers that know how to overtake. Jan Sandman and Shintaro Akatsu. Great qualifying from Jan Sandman. Roland Hurtner, Guy Fave are on the 5th row of the grid. Then it is Stephen Earle and Paolo Scudieri. Scudieri will want to make up some places. Josef Schumacher and Lisa Clark are on the 7th row of the grid. Ahead of Mutlu Tazev and Maurizio Pittori. They are P15 and 16 with Hassan Dabusi. Louis Perusquia going from P17 and 18 with Alvaro Ramos going from P19 on the grid. That is it, our Coppa Shell Am starting grid for race 2, their second of the weekend in glorious weather conditions, which, Nico, they didn't have in terms of preparation across the test days in the middle part of this week.
No, certainly not, and it has been a welcome return to dry conditions for the drivers since Friday, and that means they have enough experience on the dry conditions, and they will surely make the most of it. It's not too hot in the cars, which I think the drivers will appreciate, especially towards the end of those 30-something minutes within this race, but it still means preserve your tires, stay cool, especially mentally, because it's going to be a hot fight.
Hotter than ever. That's what it's going to be. Coppa Shell Am has delivered great racing across race 1 and delivered quite some entertainment in qualifying as well. And we're expecting race 2 to live up to the high expectations that we've come to expect from Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am, particularly with this awesome new racing car, the Ferrari 296. The Richard Mills safety car then, and the marshals inviting the drivers to grid up in side-by-side formation ahead of the start of this 30-minute plus one-lap race. Delighted that you have joined us, delighted that you are part of this fantastic family. At Ferrari Races, this is a Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am Race 2. The cars are rounding the final turn, which is turn 12, then it's 13, but this is the final turn. Turn 14, and then they climb uphill and onto the start-finish straight. We throw the lighting gantry to the top of the screen for you and stand by for action. Let's go racing! Good start seemingly from Andrea Levy, a good start also from Eric Chung. Let's see how they all do on relatively cold tyres going into turn number 1 as Skrimpias tries to take it around the outside. He's going to have to be brave. It will give him the inside line for the next turn. How has he done it? Well, he hasn't. Henrik Kamstrup, though, has vaulted up to P2. What a drive from Henrik Kamstrup from the very start of the race. The start is under investigation. Bit of contact there between the number 100 car of Stephen Earle and Lisa Clark. Two Americans getting together there as into the next sequence of turns we go with our Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am cars. And Lisa just getting the better of Dr. Stephen Earle then as they make the run downhill now. There's Hassan Dabusi. But it is Andrea Levy leading the race. And here comes Zoe Skrimpias trying to come back at Henrik Kamstrup, who's come through the pack and finds himself up to P2. So, early stages of this race, Andrea Levy then leading for Rosso Corsa, but Henrik Kamstrup doing everything he can to try and encourage and provoke a small mistake from Andrea Levy that would put Henrik Kamstrup into that gun position of P1. He is marginally quicker through Sector 2. It's all very well being marginally quicker. You've got to find a way by, and Eric Chung is really trying to find a way by Zoe Skrimpias as well. So the first 4, 5, 6 cars all together. And Guy Fave and Andreas Koenig having something of a battle going on for P6. Right now, you can take a different line in these cars as going out wide is Eric Chung, and that will play into the hands of Giuseppe Ramelli, potentially. So here they come then. Andrea Levy from Henrik Kamstrup and Zoe Skrimpias into turn number 1. Tyres have got some temperature into them now. Zois goes to the outside, and that could cost him dearly in terms of Eric Chung getting to the inside, but the door is closed. Henrik Kamstrup now tries to go around the outside of Andrea Levy, himself falling prey just a little bit to Zoe Skrimpias, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. You got the impression that Henrik Kamstrup will finish in any position except for P2. One corner he's attacking, the next corner he has to defend it really like he has to get out of that position one way or the other, and certainly he would prefer going forward. Paolo Scudieri has gained 3 positions. One of the winners at the start, Mutlu Tasev, dropped way down the order from his starting position, but obviously the focus is on those 3 at the very front.
The driver that's tracking to, in P4 at the moment is going to get a drive-through penalty for incorrect starting alignment. That means probably he didn't go through the box correctly in terms of the start. As a round has gone, Dr. Stephen Earle, I believe, in the car number 100. Stephen Earle is out. So, yes, car 198, which is currently P4, Eric Chung, he's going to get a drive-through penalty. That plays into the hands of Jeppe Ramelli. For the moment, Henrik Kamstrup has had to turn his attention to defense rather than attack because Skrimpias is really taking it to him. He's got to the outside of Henrik Kamstrup now as they go side by side into this very fast chicane. And, well, for the moment, Henrik Kamstrup is able to show a clean pair of heels to Skrimpias. And now here comes Henrik Kamstrup just trying to track, and he's looking for a slingshot out of this final turn. Let's take a look at the restart, and actually it's pretty slam dunk, isn't it, for Eric Chung, who's actually nowhere through his... all the drivers have to start through the boxes, don't they? And Eric definitely did not do that, Nico.
Yes, definitely. That was pretty obvious. They have to start at 70 kilometers an hour and go through the grid boxes in parallel flight almost. And there you can see you've got a little bit of a leeway left and right, but not that much. And yeah, unfortunately, he had a decent start, but that really ruins his race, I'm sorry to say.
In replay, we can see just some of the action that was going on in turn number 1. And this was Stephen Earle and Lisa Clark getting together here. And actually, that was more severe than we saw live with Stephen having gone around. Right, let's get back to it. Well, whilst we were looking at that replay, Skrimpias has put himself up into P2. Andrea Levy leading the race, and Henrik Kamstrup relegated to P3. So, do bear in mind, of course, that Eric Chung has got a drive-through penalty to take, and he has to take that within 3 laps of it being awarded. So the fight is on now between the driver of the number 171 Rosso Corsa red car and the green and yellow Einico Rapato Corsa Ram car of Zeus Skrimpias. Zeus, who's made his debut into racing and the Ferrari Challenge this weekend, has had a fantastic time of it, it has to be said. It's been a really brilliant debut. And he would love to be on the top step of the podium today. So into the final turn they go then. Around this long sweeping downhill turn as well, where you can now in these cars carry so much speed. That really helps you on the start-finish straight as the cars get very, very close together. Barely a car length between P1 and P2. And who's going to be king of the late breakers into turn number 1? Zeus takes to the inside. There's a fair racing room left by Andrea Levy, and I'll tell you what, that is a brilliant overtake from Zeus Skrimpias. I didn't think he was going to be able to scrub the speed off and break the car into turn number 1, but he's done it. Absolutely brilliant overtake, Nico.
I mean, please tell me that man hasn't just been racing for a few days. I mean, that is just incredible. Control of the car, control of the emotions. Got relegated at the start, came right back at Henrik Kamstrup, and now that a textbook overtake. Incredible driving, did it very, very well. Was not only quick, but also mature yesterday, and he just continues on that trajectory.
And I've got to big up Andrea Levy there, because racing room was left when it could so easily not have been, and there could have been something of an incident there, but there wasn't. Brilliant driving from our Coppa Shell Am drivers in the Ferrari Challenge. Awesome stuff, and now we have a new race leader, Zeus Skrimpias, ahead of Andrea Levy. And now that he's managed to break away, look at the gap that he has been able to create already. Here it is in replay. Now, this is how he got past Henrik Kamstrup, which we didn't see live. And again, it was another textbook. He has clearly got the measure of turn number 1. And he's also got so much confidence in this brilliant car. And this is how he did it. on the then race, on the race leader, Andrea Levy. I mean, 2 laps in succession, but 2 completely different overtakes through turn number 1.
Yeah, once on the inside and once on the outside. Really, really impressive. And he has put in 6 consecutive fastest sectors overall. So he is going purple sector by sector. And you can already see he's 2.6 seconds up the road already after only 1 lap. That is nothing short of impressive.
Eric Chung takes his drive-through penalty, and Paolo Scudieri is getting up the order as well. Paolo Scudieri is up to P8 now in the race. Zois Skrimpias leading from Andrea Levy, and then it's Henrik Kamstrup. And there you could just see Andreas Koenig fighting with Guy Favet here. The red car is driven by Guy Favet. Here comes Andreas Koenig on the inside. And Andreas Koenig then makes his way past the number 120 car. That gives him P5. So well done to Andreas Koenig, up to P5 for the Haupt Racing Team and Gome Motorsport. Absolutely awesome driving. We are seeing some incredible driving in the Coppa Shell AM class. It's brilliant stuff. And much like Nico says, Zois Skrimpias, who we are led to believe, and we are told before making his debut in the Ferrari Challenge this weekend, has not done any racing. My goodness me, he is driving like an utter pro. Absolutely awesome driving. And those 2 consecutive overtakes, different lines through turn number 1, completely different overtakes. Did he do the same? He made the blooming move stick. Brilliant driving. Here's Paolo Scudieri now, and he is tracking Shintaro Akatsu now. He's dispatched with the car of Jan Benedict Sandman, and Paolo Scudieri trying to make his way up the order. Now, Andreas Koenig has not been able to break away. He is in P5 at the moment, having got past the Scuderia FMA driver, which is Guy Favet, but he's not been able to break away from Guy. So Guy is trying to track him here as they head up the start-finish straight into turn number 1. And there is Henrik Kamstrup in the all-blue car, making a bit of a mistake, carrying too much speed into turn number 1. That may play into the hands of Giuseppe Ramelli. And just taking a look at the inside of Paolo Scudieri, there was Jan Sandman, who of course contested in the Ferrari Challenge Winter Series when we were in Abu Dhabi right at the start of the year. So there is Henrik Kamstrup, and the car right behind him is certainly not giving up on this. Giuseppe Ramelli. Giuseppe Ramelli, we know from many, many years of Ferrari Challenge racing, knows how to drive a car, and like all the drivers that we are seeing in the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell AM, they are all finding this wonderful 296 such a rewarding car to drive, such a forgiving car to drive, and they are able to try and make overtakes where perhaps previously, in the previous iteration of the Ferrari Challenge car, it would not have been possible. This car is just so darn good.
Yes, absolutely, and I think it's so impressive that, I mean, these are Shell M drivers, and you would think, you know, new car, maybe you're not quite familiar with it, and you clutter into another driver. We haven't seen any of that through a full race and a half, so really, really good control by the drivers, but I think the new car, the 296 Challenge, really helps the drivers in that process of really, really finding the exact border of adhesion.
Yes, and I have to say also, driving standards have been exemplary, absolutely exemplary across all the categories of the Ferrari Challenge. And because this is the Ferrari Challenge, we bring you even better value because we bring you 6 races across the course of a weekend rather than 4. That's how nice we are, you know. Actually, it's all to do with the number of drivers that want to be racing in the Ferrari Challenge that we have to do that. And it's absolutely brilliant. That's a great shame. But it's not anything to do with our race. It's one of our previous cars that we could see down there, just illustrating how beautiful some of our drivers have made these wonderful cars look. So around turn number 1 goes Paolo Scudieri, and Andreas Koenig here. He is driving in P5 with Guy Favet sticking right with him from Scuderia FMA. The lead is with Zois Skrimpias. Now, I don't know how many more platitudes I could give to Zois Skrimpias, but may I just say, since he's taken the lead of the race, he has built up a margin of 4.5 seconds in, what, 3 laps?
And
come on.
Last time around, he was 1.3 seconds quicker than anybody else on the track.
I don't believe you. You've read that wrong.
I'm sorry. I will double check my maths, but this man who won the race yesterday, he's been the only one who's been able to beat Zoe Skrimpias thus far in a race, and he needed a very, very daring overtake to do it. Andreas Koenig, he's somewhat stuck in P5 and is not able to attack and go forward, coming to terms with Jeppe Ramelli, who we see here. He is chasing Henrik Kamstrup, trying to get onto a podium position.
Yes, at the moment, as it stands, Henrik Kamstrup has the final podium place, P3. Andrea Levy is at P2 for Rosso Corsa, and then for the Ineco Reparto Corsa Ram, Zoe Skrimpias leading by some 4.5 seconds. Not only is the driver talent so good in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am, but if you've got some world-renowned motor racing teams as well, the likes of Rosso Corsa and Haupt Racing Team, who have joined this year, and of course the brand new team Reparto Corsa Ram, which is run by a fine racing driver as well, Giorgio Sonagiotto. So with all these teams all wanting to be involved in the Ferrari Challenge, it's great to see those 19 cars out there and contesting such a brilliant race. The races this weekend have been supreme. Andreas Koenig turns in. Guy Favre, he's tracked him just a little bit now. He's gapped him just a little bit now, which was always his plan. But you're absolutely right, Nico. Andreas Koenig doesn't quite seem to have the pace that he was able to find in the car yesterday, and therefore that's why he's in P5 position. He didn't seem to get it all together in qualifying either. I also want to make the point that we've had 2 previous races, so there's lots of rubber down on the track. However, in the 2 previous races for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli and also for the Coppa Shell drivers, we had quite some track limits warnings. There's been relatively few in this particular race, which again is testament to the drivers.
Yes, absolutely, and we're just approaching half distance, 14.5 minutes run, and that was that Akatsu who ran wide. He certainly seemed to have lost momentum on that part of the track.
You wouldn't bet against it, would you?
Yes, we had very few warnings. Giuseppe Ramelli picked up 2 on the last lap, however, so that's something to watch. But other than that, it's been relatively clean, and it's especially clean by Zoe Skrimpias, who in spite of having all that momentum and all that speed and...
Oh, Nico. Why is it? Oh, I tell you what, that was a big save because he had to pile on the opposite lock as he went rallycrossing through the gravel.
Absolutely.
But he held on to it, and Stefano Guy was mightily impressed with that as well.
Yeah, Arrabbiata too almost bit him there, but he controlled it, and Zoe Skrimpias, nobody to overtake ahead of him anymore through turn 1, so he just controls it and keeps it. He's not stretching his legs quite as much as he did previously, which again, maturity. He's not overstressing the tires because a safety car might bring all the big gap that he's building down again. So he's not overstressing. He's got a very healthy margin of 4.8 seconds is all that he needs, and he preserves the tires in case he needs them again at peak conditions.
And it's information like that that driver coaches relate to the drivers. It's what Giorgio Sonagiotto will be doing as Paolo Scudieri flashes his lights. Now, this is Eric Chung in the red car, 198, and it's Josef Schumacher alongside him. Josef Schumacher's car and the livery across that car is one of the most distinctive in this year's Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am pack. But Eric Chung, of course, has had a drive-through penalty because primarily when the race started, he didn't drive through his grid box, which you have to do at 70 kilometers per hour. He didn't do that. Race stewarding panel and our race director, Claudio Garavini, who is the race director, firm but fair, and absolutely almost immediately after the start, Eric Chung picked up a drive-through penalty, and he took it with good grace, taking it early on, so that is allowing him to try and claw his way back up the order as Paolo Scudieri now tries to find a way past Guy Favre, and this is the fight that's going on for P6. So Paolo Scudieri from a lowly starting position, you may recall from qualifying, if you watched our qualifying program, he wasn't able to get a fast lap in. He left it until late in the session before going out. Sometimes that can bite you on the bottom. And it did on this occasion because I think there was a problem with his seatbelts. They weren't done up quite correctly. So Paolo Scudieri came in. And then as they are trying to adjust the belts, he's running out of time for the qualifying session, wasn't able to set a meaningful time, so he's had to fight from a lowly starting position, and he's about to pick off Guy Favet here, or certainly try to, and into turn number 1. If he can hold on to the car, it's another textbook overtake, going through turn number 1 and climbing uphill towards Lucio, and then into turn 3, and then the very, very fast chicane. So Paolo Scudieri for, I don't know, the 7th or 8th time of watching him in this race alone has really been able to put a move on that has worked. Paolo raced in the Winter Challenge earlier on this year in Abu Dhabi, and over the last few years has been one of the drivers that has really, really increased in prowess.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's a replay of that overtake, and he got just a little bit more momentum coming out of the turn and then continued that, and by the time he got to the apex of turn 1, he had the overtake done. We got a penalty for track limits awarded to Hassan Debussy, who also was part of our Winter Challenge.
Yes.
Unfortunately, ran afoul of the track limits just once too often, and therefore will be penalized. And you can see that Paolo Scudieri, now he's been released, now he's trying to chase after Andreas Koenig, and for Scudieri, he was at the very bottom of a timing screen for the vast majority of qualifying and just barely managed to get a reasonable lap in, not to his standards, but he avoided absolute disaster, and he continues that trend now, and at the end of the season you never know which one is the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 points that will make a difference in the championship hunt.
Absolutely. This is Jan-Benedict Sandman then, who is tracking Guy Favet right now, and let's see what Jan can do. He is coached by Charlie Hollings. Charlie, a very, very successful driver himself and an all-round nice guy, and has spent some time in broadcast with us now as he dives to the inside. He took a look at the outside first, then dived to the inside, but he dialed out of that because he knew that if he tried to make that move on the inside, then Guy would have probably turned into the corner. There'd have been contact between the two of them. And this is what I'm saying about healthy respect between the drivers. They give each other racing room. Inevitably, sometimes things happen, but they are doing such a good job out there. 10 minutes plus 1 lap remaining in this Coppa Shell-Am race 2 of 2 this weekend for our Coppa Shell-Am drivers, and the opening round of the Ferrari Challenge Europe for 2024. Jan-Benedict Sandman is going to come again. There's no question about that. Guy Favet is metaphorically having to stick his elbows out here, Nico, and make his 296 car just a tad wider than it was designed to be, to prevent the likes of Jan Sandman from coming through. Thus far, he's been able to do that. Is he going to be able to hold on for the remaining 9.5 minutes and a lap?
That is going to be interesting. What's also interesting is that after Skrimpias was really, really dominant early on, and we felt like now he's got everything under control. Now, slowly but surely, Andrea Levy is reeling him in. He's already reduced the deficit, which was almost 5 seconds, down to 2.5. Is that just a little bit too much damage control? We still got around 9 minutes and change plus 1 lap remaining, so Skrimpias certainly doesn't want that deficit to decrease even more, and it's something worth watching over the last 10 minutes or so.
Well, I'm just looking at the last lap time, which was Zeus was not as quick as the cars behind him. However, not helping Andrea Levi is the fact that he's just picked up a track limits warning as well, so he's going to have to be careful in terms of making sure that he keeps the car within the white lines, which becomes more difficult when we get into this, the final third of the race, and tyre deg has something to do with the grip that is available to you in the car, the adhesion available to you from the brilliant Pirelli tyres. Zeus Skrimpias leads from Andrea Levy and Henrik Kamstrup. Then it's Giuseppe Ramelli and Andreas Koenig, Paolo Scudieri and Guy Favet, which is the very battle that we're watching at the moment. This is Guy Favet and Jan Sandman running P7 and P8.
And this is a little bit of carbon copy of yesterday, where roughly at this stage of the race, everything settled down a little bit, and we just said, you know, it will heat up, and all of a sudden it went boom, and everything happened at the same time. And well, we hope it's only positive things that will happen, but we hope that things will start to develop with everybody seeking their final chance over the last 8 minutes, and Jan Sandman is one of them. And there we can see that gap was a little bit wider. Got to be interesting if Skrimpias has any issues with traction or grip. Didn't quite see it in that scene. Lap times certainly indicate that he has picked up his pace a little bit again.
May I just offer a thought here? And it is only a thought, I have absolutely no evidence of this. Zoe Skrimpias has got in his ears, not his nagging partner, but his driver coach, who is one of the most experienced and winning drivers, Giorgio Giotto. He is telling him how to manage this, I suspect. Don't take too much out of the tyres. Don't overstress them. You've got a reasonable margin. Keep it reasonable. We don't need to extend it. We don't need to go for quali laps every single lap. We're in the final third of the race.
And there is Jan Sandman. Sorry for interrupting. He has now gotten alongside Guy Favre, and the two are beaming across the start-finish straight. It's a long, long way from that end of the final turn towards the braking point into turn number 1. Of course, the inside is better, but if Sandman can get the switchback, and he can't, no, well defended by Guy Favre, good defensive driving. And to finish the thought you made earlier, yes, Zoe Skrimpias has preserved his tires, and it looks like he has found that extra gear, and he's now making sure that it doesn't get too close with 6.5 minutes remaining.
This is brilliant racing going on between these two. What really impressed me going through turn number 1 was Guy knew exactly where to place the car to prevent. Oh, as a round has gone, is that Jeppe Ramelli? Jeppe Ramelli. Wow, that has changed the order just a bit then, because Jeppe Ramelli goes around. What I was saying was that the race between these two, particularly going through turn number 1, Guy knew exactly where to place that car to deny Jan Sandman the opportunity to come by. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think Jan is quicker, but it's all very well being quicker than the car in front of you. You've got to get by the car in front of you, and if you can't do that, then the extra pace you've got is futile. Oh, he got a very good exit out of that turn as he puts himself right alongside Guy. But again, Guy is able to just maintain the momentum and deny. Jan is definitely working really, really hard here, and he's trying to provoke a mistake from Guy, which actually isn't coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And Oliver Bearman, just when you were with him on the previous races, we have a look at, yeah, that is the spin that we saw from Jeppe Ramelli.
Good avoidance from Andreas Koenig.
Absolutely.
And Paolo Scudieri.
And everybody else, indeed, yes. You can't run all the time behind the car, right behind the car in front of you, because the hot air that will not allow your brakes to cool down. It will take even more out of your rubber. So you really have to pick the moment where you attack and where you take to the outside. And there is Andreas Koenig now under pressure from Paolo Scudieri. I think he's got that under control, but those 4 minutes, 40 seconds could be a very, very long time.
Yes, Paolo Scudieri, who's being ushered on by Stefano Guy in his ears. I suspect constantly, and Paolo, being such a polite gentleman, is not the sort of gentleman to say, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. He's listening to everything that Stefano Guy is telling him. And I suspect Charlie Hollings is really, as driver coach to Jan Sandman, he's really trying to motivate him as well. Keep on it. He'll make a mistake. And as he dives to the inside now, and well, great driving from Jan Sandman, who took to the grass to avoid making contact with Guy Favre.
Yeah.
Great stuff. A time penalty of 5 seconds for track limits for Jeppe Ramelli. Yeah, half of that was when he was pointing in the wrong direction, I think.
Well, certainly not getting any better the last 2 minutes. He would have liked to forget, but that's racing. Sometimes these things come in bunches, Andreas Koenig. He has to defend. He obviously the race winner, championship leader after yesterday's race. And again, every point counts. No chance for a win today, but he wants to keep that P4 position. And we've seen penalties change the order previously.
What a shot that is from our drone operators. I'd love to see that as they really try and shortcut that chicane. And the top drivers in this race are beginning to come up against some back-marking cars here. So traffic towards the end of this race might form part of the story still to be completely told. And Paolo Scudieri Well, he couldn't be any closer to Andreas Koenig if the two cars were welded together. He's going to try and have a go going into turn one. Is he going to be inside, outside? Andreas Koenig protects the inside line. Can the cars scrub off the speed? Has Paolo Scudieri got the bravery to go all the way around the outside? Well, he's definitely got the bravery. I don't think he quite had the pace, but he is putting Andreas Koenig under so much pressure here. This is awesome stuff to watch. This is the Ferrari Challenge for 2024 with our Coppa Shell-Am drivers having a real fight out there, and it is really, really enjoyable for us to bring this action to you. Zeus Skrimpias is leading the race with a margin of some 3.5 seconds, but a little bit further down the order, this is the fight that is going on for P4 in the race, and Paolo Scudieri is not giving up on this, and he is looking at unorthodox lines through turns that this car allows you to take.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw Luca Ludwig, who explained that you have very different lines, especially through that part of the circuit. And Paolo Scudieri definitely tried another one. Andreas Koenig, he's very, very defensive. And I mean, he now obviously is only looking into his rear view mirrors, which now he shouldn't, because he's certainly trying to focus on the track ahead of him, but he also has to see, will Paolo go for an overtake in a spot where he doesn't necessarily expect it? And Paolo is certainly selling him a dummy or two around this track.
There is Andrea Levy, who is P2. He can just see the back end of this car, which is Zeus Skrimpias, who is in the lead. And I remind you that he comes into this race weekend as a new driver, not someone that has racing experience.
And we've got 2 more laps, if we reckon that correctly, with Skrimpias crossing the finish line with around 1 minute and 20. And there is a penalty.
And that's for Guy Favre.
Yeah, and that kind of puts Jan-Benedict Sandman ahead of him, come what may. And
Paolo Scudieri now, I said, I wonder whether traffic might play a part in this. And if Andreas Koenig had chosen to go in a slightly different way, it might have done, but actually it didn't. Paolo Scudieri remains in that position. He's got the remainder of this lap plus 1 lap to try and find a way past that number 104 car. Now, the time penalty of 5 seconds that's been awarded to Guy Favre, of course, advantages Jan Sandman, who presumably can ease up a little bit now and not be quite so feisty in trying to get past, because it's going to be academic. He's certainly not going to get on terms with Paolo Scudieri with just 1.5 laps to do. So he may as well, you know, just ease off a little bit and not run the risk, because the risk-reward ratio is not going to be in his favour. He's already got another place. Meantime, Paolo Scudieri is just taking a moment, just taking a breath, and then he will go again, because for sure, and there you can just see Germana, who is partner to Zeus Skrimpias, right. Paolo says, I've had my rest, I've had my relaxation, now I'm going to go for it again, because I've only got the remainder of this lap plus 1 more, so I've got to get this done, as he goes to the outside of Andreas Koenig now, and what he's trying to do is just to fill his rearview mirrors with his car, so that Andreas Koenig is constantly looking to see where Paolo Scudieri is, to try and drive defensively and place his car in a position which will prevent Paolo from having a go. And now he's flashing his lights as well in an attempt to get him to lose momentum. Now he's gone wide into the final turn. Paolo Scudieri is going to try and get a slingshot now and carry more momentum and put himself right alongside. This is the race leader, Zeus Skrimpias, starting the final lap ahead of Andrea Levy. I hope we go back to the Andreas Koenig and Paolo Scudieri as they reach the conclusion of the start-finish straight, because that's where I'm convinced that Paolo Scudieri, there he is. Is he going to try and get the undercut now on Andreas Koenig? He's carrying more speed, but I don't think the grip is there, but actually he's trying, and he's done it. I didn't think he'd got enough, but he has done it. He has gone through after lap after lap after lap of trying on Andreas Koenig. He set that up from the exit of the final turn, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Andreas Koenig would have liked to be a little bit more defensive there and block the inside line coming into that chicane, but he didn't. Very fair driving, certainly did everything to avoid a collision, and I mean obviously trying to bank the points as well, but he would have liked to stay ahead of Paolo Scudieri, but no, Scudieri went through, and now we're into the very final sector almost of this race. Zeus Skrimpias, he is finishing Sector 2 for the final time in race speed here at Mugello. It's only 3-4 more turns to do.
I think he has done enough. But it's never over until the fat lady sings or the checkered flag is flown. But I think Zeus Skrimpias has got enough in reserve here. There is no doubt about it that Andrea Levy has got closer over the last lap or so, but he had so much of a gap to try and wrestle away from Zeus Skrimpias. I do believe Zeus was almost playing with him a bit in terms of the gap between P1 and P2. And he will head towards the checkered flag. He will flash his lights, and the checkered flag will fly for Zeus Skrimpias, who is race winner in Coppa Shell Am on his debut race weekend in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am. Awesome stuff. Great driving from Paolo Scudieri. Well done to Andrea Levy taking P2, Henrik Kamstrup P3, and Paolo Scudieri from a lowly starting position has made his way up to P4. Andreas Koenig, yesterday's race winner, finishes P5. Jan Sandman, of course, is elevated to P6 on account of the fact that Guy Favet picked up a time penalty. Then it's Roland Hertner. Akatsu takes P9. Eric Chung gets into P10, and he had a drive-through penalty. Then it's Giuseppe Ramelli, and it will be Josef Schumacher, Lisa Clark, Hassan Dabusi, Mutlo Tarsev, and then it will be Ramos that takes P16. What a race. We have had 3 epic Ferrari Challenge races today. They have been so, so good. Part of that is the driving talent, part of that is the car talent.
Absolutely, and it has to be said, Ferrari really put on a great show, not only on the track, but everywhere here in the paddock, and it's just a joy to be part of that, and all the people in the grandstands, in the paddock, really, really positive vibes all around. It's been a fairly long off-season, and to really get things going again with a lovely, beautiful calendar, just impossible not to enjoy.
Well, you know, when you get drivers of the ilk of Timo Glock, former Formula One star, of course, and multi-race winner and all-time good driver, when he makes his first appearance in the Ferrari Challenge, as indeed he has done this weekend, and spared and shared some of his time with us on the air, when, someone of the stature of Timo Glock says, do you know what, when I arrived in this paddock, I felt that I had really arrived. This is, I think the word he used was proper, Dave. This is proper. And it is. It is an awesome, immersive experience, the whole of the Ferrari Challenge. And I have to say, credit to each and every one of the drivers that has taken to the 5.2 kilometer track this weekend. You have delivered some awesome racing. And I am still absolutely in awe of Zeus Skrimpias, the Ineco Reparto Corsa Ram driver, who tells us no racing until this weekend. Not sure I believe it.
I'm struggling with that too, but also the team. I mean, Reparto Corsa, obviously a name in the Ferrari Challenge that has a very, very traditional ring to it, but this incarnation of the team is brand new, and I mean, it is a new car, it is a new team, and you manufacture and engineer a team that allows your drivers to be so very successful.
And there is the team principal, ready to congratulate driver. That time he had a haircut, if I'm honest with you.
Well, he put all his energy.
He'll tell me off about that.
Yeah.
Giorgio Senagiotto makes his congratulations to his driver, Zeus, who he actually came up to me last night just after I'd had a glass of lemonade in the Ferrari hospitality, and he said, thank you so much for your kind words in broadcast, Dave. He said, I watched the race on repeat, and he said, that was so nice of you. You deserved it, friend. It's nothing to do with me. You know, you were the one that delivered. And Zeus, congratulated by Germana and new family member as well. Well done.
Well done indeed. And yeah, I mean, really great respect to all our drivers across all our categories in the 488 Challenge Evo, which are the 9 drivers which are still competing in the previous incarnation of the Challenge car, and the 60-odd drivers in the new 296 Challenge Evo.
Look at this. This is what makes the Ferrari Challenge so special. Absolute enemies out on track, friends when they get back into the paddock. Of course, they're all hugely competitive. All right, enemies might be too strong, but
rivals.
Rivals. You know, but as soon as the crash helmets come off and the racing gloves come off, the camaraderie is awesome. Zeus Skrimpias takes the win from Andrea Levy, Henrik Kamstrup, Paolo Scudieri, Andreas Koenig, Jan Sandman. Then it was Guy Favre and Roland Hurtner, Shintaro Akatsu, Eric Chung, Giuseppe Ramelli, Josef Schumacher, Lisa Clark, Hassan Dabusi, Mutlu Tazev, Alvaro Ramas, Maurizio Pittori, and non-classifications for Louis Peruskia and Stephen Earle. And in the championship, I mean, with a margin of 7 points, the driver making his debut this weekend, going into the next round in Balaton in Hungary, is leading the Coppa Am Drivers' Championship on 30 points. That's a remarkable story.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Great, great driving, great result, and I can't wait for Hungary. It's unfortunately still 4 weeks away, but...
Yeah, just don't be impatient, come on. Be reasonable about it. I'm lucky because I have more racing to come next weekend, whereas the Ferrari Challenge in the UK is competing in Alton Park, and then straight after that, I'll jump on a bus and head out to Laguna Seca. Right, this is a super slow-mo of the car that has delivered the driver to his P1 position. That is Zeus Skrimpias. We'll be hearing from him next.
Zeus, congratulations, a beautiful hug with your team under the podium for your first win. You close and the first round of Ferrari Challenge Europe in the best way.
Yes, it was a great race. I really enjoyed. The car is fantastic. The competition is super. So it was a really nice race. It's a really nice experience for me. It's my my second race in my life. Yesterday was my first. So I really enjoy it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He's just said it on television. Today was my second race in my life, and he has won the race. Enjoy the highlights now. Michele Mambelli will once again be in charge of proceedings of getting the drivers up on the podium, and it'll be Henrik Kamstrup that takes P3. There he is. Well done, Henrik.
Andrea Levy.
Andrea Levy takes P2. Well done, Andrea.
And the winner is Zeus Skrimpias.
And well done, Zeus Skrimpias, P1.
National anthem.
National anthem time.
Our claps for this podium.
My mate alongside me has just said that Skrimpias has got more trophies actually than races contested, because of course he picked up a trophy for pole position
We are presented
yesterday.
by Andrea Bertolini, Ferrari official GT driver. For the third driver on the podium, Henrik
Really
Kamstrup.
Andrea Bertolini making the trophy presentation then to Henrik Kamstrup. Then he makes the trophy presentation to Andrea Levy. Well done, Andrea.
And for the winner,
Zeus Skrimpias,
race winner,
P1.
Zeus Skrimpias, Andrea
Well done, Zeus.
Bertolini.
He'll be thrilled about that.
And the trophy for the team Ineco Reparto Corseram. Okay, guys.
Well done, team.
All on the first step of this podium, and Andrea and team manager Nia. Okay.
It's a tough old job, you know, Michele, trying to orchestrate those drivers like herding sheep sometimes, isn't it?
It's a little disrespectful, but Michele is certainly doing a good job.
You can go out if you want. And
Still can't wait for Hungary.
Oh, Zeus is big on the champagne. Well done. So the cars that have delivered for our drivers, Henrik Kamstrup, then his Formula Racing team, and the beautiful metallic blue car takes him to P3. For Andrea Levy, it is Rosso Corsa. He takes P2. And for the Reparto Corsa Ram team, Ineco Zeus Skrimpias, P1. Well, there we have it from all of the broadcasters that have been with us in this studio this weekend. Timo Glock, Oliver Bearman, Nico Spalak, and also from myself. It has been a truly memorable opening weekend to the Ferrari Challenge season for 2024. We are off to Balaton next in Hungary in our awesome calendar for 2024. But from me and from everyone else, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.